Hello and welcome to the Falls Township Planning Commission meeting. First, I'd ask everyone to silence their cell phones, and now we're going to stand up and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We're going to do some tidying up here with the agenda. Item number 2 is asked for a continuance to next month. May I have that motion? Hold on. We need a roll call first.
Good evening. Mr. Henderson.
Whoa. Present.
I am here. Mr. O'Brien. Mr. Everett.
Present.
Ms. Leszczuk. Mr. Haney, Chairman, is not present tonight.
Correct. Sorry. All right. Now we'll do some tidying up with the agenda. Item number 2 is asked for a continuance to next month. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now item number 1, Falcon Field Athletic Improvements, Pennsbury High School, 608 South Olds Boulevard, 705 Hood Boulevard, and 75 Unity Drive.
Thank you very much. Good evening. My name is Mike Malloy. I'm with Obermeyer, Redmond, Maxwell, Hipple. And just to reintroduce the folks to my left, I have my team here on behalf of Pennsbury School District for the amendment to allow lights to the practice field. I have from the school district, I have Tom Smith, he's the superintendent, and Lou Sudholtz, he's the athletic director. Terry DeGroot is from Terraforma Engineering, he's the engineer on the project. Jamie Lynch is from CHA, he's a consultant who helps us with the various stuff on the project. And Andrew O'Connell's from Musco Lighting. He did the lighting plan. So last we spoke, the Planning Commission had some questions, some concerns, and I asked, obviously, for time to go back to the drawing board, sharpen our pencils, come up with some more information, and hopefully tonight with the presentation in front of you, we can answer all of those questions, and we're hoping for your recommendation so we can move on to the Board of Supervisors for the amendment. So the areas of concern were, I would say, threefold. One was illumination and spillover from the fields, and I'd say, in particular, if I can paraphrase, the Planning Commission was concerned about when both fields were actively used, whether that would cause some kind of additional spillover and combination. And I am not going to pretend to be an expert. That's why we have Andrew O'Connell here from Musco. But as the bullet point number 1 tells you, there is no spillover, and he can explain the whys and hows of that, both with his certified plans that are included in the presentation, and an explanation on how his company's lighting specifically works to shield surrounding properties from the light exposure. The second was the use, I would say, and the use of the field, and we can break that into 2 categories, and that was use by the high school and potentially, because there is no deal cut in stone, the school district intends to move forward either way, but the additional use by Yardley Makefield Soccer Club. And so, there's a couple more bullet points, the second bullet point, and a slide that you'll see later. There are 6 fields currently in use, every single day at the high school. And those fields are going away when the new high school is built. And so primarily this field takes that same use and replaces those 6 fields. So from a use perspective to begin with, there is no change on a daily basis. But then you ask, well, what about the use? What about the lights? How long is that going to go? So the school district's committed. The lights will go off, and this is the stadium, the stadium and the field lighting will go off at 9 o'clock. And then you have the safety lighting, you know, so people can exit the field and the stadium. Now, that doesn't apply to football games where you're going to be going till 11 o'clock, but that's only in the stadium. So YMS's use, just to move on to the bullet point, whatever the agreement is and whenever, if it gets done, their use is restricted to the Pee Wee League. And it's going to be 2 teams of 16 kids. They're going to use the fields after the school use is complete in the evenings and on the weekends. You're talking a maximum of 32 cars. There are 898 parking spaces available for activities at the high school, and roughly 200 or so immediately adjacent to these fields. Not all of them are used for high school activities, right? So you have plenty of empty spaces to accommodate YMS if, you know, a deal is cut. They're committed. There'll be no events of any kind on what I call the practice field while football games are going on, and as we discuss the traffic. We did provide notice to everyone who fronts the stadium on Hanford Road. I know that was a concern. And that was 814 to 836 on Hanford. Got mailed notice, and we received no response from anyone. So I have everyone here. We can walk through some of the lighting slides if you think that would be something that you'd want to hear about. We can discuss the schedule, which is also there. It's the green color. I have two. I have a green colorized sort of schedule that shows the breakdown that I just described. And then as backup, I have, you know, the very detailed look for you guys to analyze. But, you know, it will be lit. It will not have an illumination impact. We don't believe, based on our analysis of the use, that there will be any perceivable difference in a traffic standpoint or a parking impact standpoint. And we're here to answer your questions.
So one of the biggest things we asked for was the lighting study of both the fields on at the same time. So if
Let's get Andrew up here and talk about that then. Okay, so we'll move on.
Thank you.
He can talk about this stuff. And Andrew, your slides are, yours 3, 4, and 5 are right next.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Andrew O'Connell from Musco. Good to see everyone. This slide, before we do get into the illumination and the designs of both fields, 100% operational, is a good one because a lot of times folks will have a misconception of what sports lighting looks like from the metal halide days. So if you work your way from left to right there, that is actually 5 1,500-watt metal halide fixtures. So essentially at that point, it's getting as much light out onto that field as possible with minimum spill and glare control. And over the years, we obviously, energy efficiency, figured out ways to reduce fixtures and control spill and glare that much better. What we're dealing with today and proposing for, which is actually installed on the stadium and proposing for your practice field, is going to be under today Musco LED system. So there's actually two 1,200-watt LED fixtures outputting the same amount of light that our 5 1,500 watts did. So energy efficiency is absolutely there, but the most important part to look at, if I likely did not tell you that there was two 1,200-watt fixtures up there, it'd be pretty tough to tell the quantity of fixtures. And that is by design. We have patented and protected technology, is what is called TLC for LED, where we're actually shielding the source of light with a full cutoff shielded visor, as opposed to there's other LED manufacturers out there. If you look to the right, that is just what we like to call a glorified LED floodlight. There's no spill or glare guards or visors on that protecting the source of light from your community. So what we put together here is a combination of both the stadium and practice field being 100% operational. So that's 100 fixtures being turned on all at once. What this blue contour line tells us is we measure from 30 feet, and we measure 3 feet above grade with a light meter. That blue contour line, let's just call it connecting the dots where that light is cut off, and we're measuring a measurement of 0 foot candles. Foot candles is how we are measuring the amount of light. That is telling me that with both fields turned on, we're hitting 0 foot candles before we negatively impact any of your nearby neighbors or properties.
You don't live here.
And then what this slide is telling me in terms of glare. So we were just looking back at those floodlight LED fixtures versus the Musco fixture. This is actually telling 150 feet from the field. So similar to what we did with the blanket grid, we're getting a 0.018 foot candle average at 3 feet again. And then the next one is going to be 115 feet from the edges of both fields, and that will be measured at 5 feet. So that is what we call a vertical foot candle reading as opposed to a horizontal foot candle reading. And this is more so your spectator line of sight. And that again is at a 0.035. Questions?
Any board questions? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Would you like us, so we'll go with board questions for, on anything? Okay. All right, I'm going to open up the public comment. Would anyone like to speak?
Please speak into the mic, sir.
Yes, we are on YouTube, everything else, so please speak into the mic when you're addressing everybody.
No one knows that they're putting AstroTurf on every elementary, middle school, and high school for pay-for-play sports for non-residents, commercial players. The blue light that he's talking about is really a professional presentation. I want to give him a hand. But we all know that the whole point of 70-foot lights is to cast light above and beyond. They could have 40-feet lights without the intensity so that the blue light is not casting out and dispersing out among the neighborhood. But they want 70-foot lights so that they can have professional sports on a second field. There's no reason to have 70-foot lights on a sports field, and they're called LED stadium lights. Isn't that correct, sir? Sports stadium lights, which means that, yes, they can control the intensity. They can control the color band, so that therefore the visible light that we all enjoy during the daytime, the little pee-wee guys are going to have to wear that black line on their face because of the intensity of the light that they are able to control, as well as the wavelengths. So they can all get ultraviolet light if they choose to, purple, or they can get the bright visible light like the sun. And there's a mandate in order to get this going, isn't that right, Dr. Smith, to keep this going, because they have to build the school. They have to put money back into the community because the township is losing money. The school is losing money. They lost their CFO, Chris Berdnick, because of the cesspool of lies that are going on in the school. And no one wants to talk about it. No one here lives in the community. I live right across the street, people. I see what you're doing. So the blue light they're talking about, it is casted over. When they have the lights on the stadium now, it is casted over into my house. So what he's saying is a lot of bull. I really wish I could have read this, but if we can get together and talk about what it is that I know about the AstroTurf and how it's poisoning the kids because of the nanomaterials that is in it, the forever chemicals and so forth and so on. But I won't keep you too long. I want Ms. Metzger to come up, and she can be a little bit more passive than I am.
Sir, can you also introduce yourself?
Excuse me?
Can you introduce yourself to the mic as well? So that it can be
I'm
on
known
record?
as Watermelon Man. If you really want to know my name, psd411.net, you'll get my real name that the school board put out there because they tried to get me arrested.
Thank you, sir.
So,
Yes.
just, The fact it's natural turf field is not under discussion for tonight. This is only
I know,
for
I know,
us.
I know, but I have a lot more information, a hell of a lot more information that all of you up here need to have.
Okay. Thank
My
you.
wife will be a little bit more passive. Let me
All right.
take my, good friend. You all know who that is, right?
My vision isn't that good, actually,
Oh
honestly.
my goodness. Josh Shapiro
Okay.
and his minions. Paulsky, Harvey, DeWitchy, and Sanacero.
Thank you for your public comment, sir.
God bless you. Thank you.
Jennifer Metzger, Falls Township. I live across the street
Thank you.
from from Pennsbury High School, from the stadium specifically. I called the people on Hanford Road, literally that are behind the stadium. I spoke to them within the last 2 hours. They discussed with me that no, they weren't reached out by anybody about this at all. Some of the people said, gee, I wish you had called me sooner. Maybe I could have tried to come tonight, but I'm at work. I specifically waited until 5 p.m. tonight to call because I didn't want the petition and everything else that I've been doing for the last few days to get out to the school board or to the lawyers because I didn't want them to cancel tonight. Couple of issues. Even Mr. Haney, your chairman, said he lives in Vermilion Hills, which is 1.5 miles away for those that don't live in the state, and he even said he can see the lights at night. We're directly across the street. It comes right into our bedrooms. Is it lesser for the new football field than it was before with the halogens? Sure, it's a little bit less. But having lights on in your bedroom that are blue lights is not exactly calming, right? People use red lights for reasons, not blue. So as for Yardley Makefield Soccer, this is a January 28th, 2025 article that documents all of the agreements that were put out over the last 5 years as a plan for them to rent these fields, specifically on PHS grounds. The 131 acres we're talking about on Hood Boulevard between Hood and South Olds, and Hanford backs up to it. So even though all of the agreements were pulled down from all the Pennsbury sites, and I can't pull them up for you for the specific information that's there, it is in a third-party document that is not from me. It's from Peg Hahn, and she's one of the consistent reporters for the area. And it specifically lays out that the lights are going to be over $550,000, even though the contract for 15 years for YMS to rent this ground is not going to cover more than $340,000. $100,000 down, $15,000 a year for 15 years. And this doesn't cover the turf or the stadium or the rest of the expenses. It doesn't even cover the lights, okay? So what am I talking about? I'm talking about the contractor agreements for the $600,000 of lights. I'm talking about the vendor agreements to rent the fields at far less than what we're talking about the value. I'm talking about the second stadium, which is not what they told anybody. And had any of us looked at this a little bit closer in February, instead of trusting you consistently, there are already stadium benches here. This is supposed to be a practice field. A practice field does not require you to have 70 to 100-foot lights. We are asking you to either stop the second set of lights because this is just supposed to be an overflow practice field, or to have them reduce the height. The height was not 75 feet before. It doesn't need to be 75 feet now. We didn't even know you were doing an entire second stadium on this PHS grounds. It specifically says 30 to 50 feet is the recommended height for lighting poles, generally ranging, with taller options being better for improved uniformity, reduced glare, and better coverage. But that's for when we're talking about doing tournaments on the football field, not on the soccer field. This is supposed to be overflow, so they'll never have games at the same time. But that's not the problem. We're getting lights in our bedrooms all the time, and they're not shutting it off at 10 p.m. at night, and it's not only for game nights. So blue light, dangerous light. Petition, 38 signatures, and that is in less than 3 days. And I didn't send it to everybody, including yourselves or the Board of Supervisors, because with all due respect, everybody's buddy-buddy with people in Pennsbury. And even though we have the Pennsbury email addresses, we didn't send it to them either because, again, we didn't want them to cancel tonight. We also printed where the houses are. They're within the 150 feet this guy's talking about, okay? These people are complaining. 2 people have moved out in the last 4 years. When I called them, they said, why do you think we moved out? There's no way for us to fix it, right? The football stadium's already there. They're already replacing it. One of the ladies on here, I have a text directly from tonight that said, oh my goodness, let me sign your petition. Send me the paperwork. I wish I had known I would have come. So that's all we're saying is please stop telling us that your little calculations are zeros when you and I both know if you lived here, it wouldn't be zeros. I have paper signatures and I have actual electronic signatures that I've printed for you. At the end of the day, though, obviously, the 6 of us that have signed that are directly staring at them from both sides are the most relevant out of the 38 signatures that we have right now. But I'm just saying, like, make them shorter. If you really have to do a second stadium, which we still don't understand because it wasn't asked for and it wasn't in the original documentation that they're lying and saying it was, please at least do it at a reasonable height so that we're not completely abused, because now you're attacking 10 more houses to the right of that field. Because when we're talking about use, I know this is going long and I apologize. When we're talking about use, we all know we're not talking about the 6 fields it's replacing in front of the pool during the day when the kids are playing from 3 to 7 at night. That's not what we're talking about. When we're talking about use, you know we're talking about the new use of the new ground that is being changed now to the stadium. We're not all as stupid as they think. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate
Thank you. So would you be amenable to a condition of approval if it's that the lights will be turned off by 10 p.m.?
Yes.
I'm not talking about the football stadium, only the practice field.
Right,
That's
yeah.
all it's up to.
Yeah, that's what's presented. Yep.
Well, I'm just saying, if we add a condition on top that they will be off by 10 p.m., that's amenable to you guys? If it's,
Yes.
okay. Do we have any more board comments? Or
Is
questions?
there a way to do a study to see whether or not you would be able to bring the lights down, like from height-wise, and gain the same type of
Yeah,
footage?
that doesn't, go ahead.
Yeah.
So typically, when you have fields this size, when we call it either diamond or rectangular fields, your baseball, softball, the minimum...
Sorry, could you speak closer to the microphone?
Typically, when you have any rectangular fields, similar to the stadium and the practice field, diamond fields, we refer to as baseball and softball. Minimum pole height versus IES standards, so Illumination Engineering Society, is typically anywhere from 60 to 70 feet with proper setbacks. The further you go from the center of the field, the higher up the pole goes. So in this case, a 70-foot pole is actually not our preference. It's just something that complies with what you currently have at the stadium. If we were to design this from scratch with no restrictions, it would actually be an 80-foot pole, given the requirements that IES puts in front of us. The 70-foot pole, because of our technology, we're able to reduce that spill and glare like we just showed. Your 40-foot and 50-foot poles will be more appropriate for a tennis court or a pickleball court, where that square footage is reduced compared to a 90,000 square foot facility. The easiest way to describe pole height in a common metaphor that we're all dealing with every day, when you're driving down the highway and that sun is at its highest point, it's not in your eye and it's not a nuisance. When that sun is setting or sun is rising, it's typically in your eyes. So it's the same thing when you put a rectangular field with a 40 or 50-foot pole. Now, to be able to properly light that field, instead of my fixture diagonally being down at 70 feet in the air, now I'm actually shining it further out, stretching it where we're not able to hit 0-foot candles that close to the field, and we're now more of a negative impact on the neighbors as we go down in height.
Thank you.
Do you have any final comments to
No, we appreciate your time, and thanks for letting us come back and explain things in more detail. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks. What's the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion to recommend approval for the Falcon Field athletic improvements, Pennsbury High School, 608 South Olds Boulevard, 705 Hood Boulevard, 75 Unity Drive, TMP number 13-015-175, 13-015-175-001, 13-018-003, 13-018-003-001, 13-018-003-003, 13-018-003-005, 13-018-003-007, 13-018-022, 13-018-025, amended final plan construction of field for, of 4 lights, or field lights at practice soccer field. Yeah, based on the Remington Verdicts engineering letter dated June 13th, 2025. With will comply, you guys have, provided all of the requests that we have put in. What was that?
Jones Engineering?
Oh, I don't have that. What is it? And also based on the Jones Engineering letter dated May 16, 2025. Okay.
And the condition for the 10 o'clock?
For the what? Oh, with the condition that the lights will be shut off at 10 o'clock. Okay.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, Jesse, pull the board.
All right.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but Haney specifically asked that they contact the neighbors, and they did not contact the neighbors. I don't understand how that's allowed right now, that you're not requiring him to do the things you asked him to do a month ago. I don't
So
understand that. That's not
we're-
right.
Okay, so we're in the middle of a motion here. After the motion, I will address that, but we have to do procedure first.
All right, Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Everett?
Yes.
Ms. Leszczuk?
Yes.
You're approved. So they said they reached out to the neighbors and they didn't get back to them. I can't,
Prove it. I did. I reached out. This isn't my job. He's a lawyer getting paid for this.
Right here, we also have a letter from a neighbor as well,
So-
stating that they,
Haney would have made him show him, because he just lied to you, and you proved it anyway. And this is where we said to you, we feel like you're doing it just because you're
All right.
friends with the board. That's it.
so
That's what you
a
just
lawyer
did.
told us
I'm
that
sorry, Paul, I
that the
couldn't-
school district tried to contact the neighbors and they didn't get any response.
He didn't contact them, that's why. He didn't even send it certified. How do I know? I just wrote him a
That's
text.
all we can,
Man, we're an advisory board, so you can take it up with supervisors after this, okay?
Right.
Thanks.
all right, thank you. All right, item number 2 has been continued. Now we're on item number 3, Keystone Trade Center, Building 20, tax map parcel 13-051-001-005, zone MPM, owner North Point Keystone, Building 20 LLC, minor subdivision, subdividing the parcel into subdividing the existing parcel into 2 parcels. Thank you.
Good evening, Chelsea Crocker Jackman from Begley, Carlin, and Mandio, here tonight on behalf of North Point. Apologize, we're just getting situated here with the computer to pull the plan up for you. Okay, and I believe...
Take all the time you need to.
Thank
set
you very
up.
much. I believe that Mr. Harrison, Peyton Harrison, was going to be joining via telephonically. I don't know if there's a way to navigate that.
Yes, that's it. Sorry.
Nobody's on, okay. Okay. You want to come over here? 1 second here. Tim, I'm going to let you work this. I'm just going to step aside. Tim Casey is here from Gilmer Engineering Project Engineers. I'll turn the microphone to the side while he can toggle the plan for your review. So as stated tonight is a minor subdivision request. This, by way of background, this project was previously approved last year. In fact, one of the buildings that is listed as proposed on the plan has already been constructed. The occupant is CSC Sugar, and what we are simply requesting is to subdivide this one parcel into two, and that's for CSC Sugar's financing purposes. We're in receipt of Mr. Jones of Jones Engineering's review letter, a 3-page document dated June 17th, 2025, indicating various comments. By way of general comment, we intend all to be will complies with the exception of the common drive, the new lot line through a common drive where we'll be requesting a waiver. So I'll ask Mr. Casey to step up to provide a little bit more detail as to that, but that's in essence the request this evening.
So which number are you asking for, what section are you asking that's not going to be will comply?
That's section 191-36D and 191-37B.
Okay.
Mr. Casey, if you want to come up, I pretty much said all there is to say about it, but if the board has any questions, Mr. Casey's the one to answer.
All right. Are there any board questions, comments? All right. Is there any public comment? All right. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
I think that's all. Pretty simple.
All right. What's the pleasure of the board?
I'll recommend approval for the Keystone Trade Center Building 20 minor subdivision, 801 Dean Seviers Place, Fairless Hills, PA 19030. RVE file number, or wait, hold on, is there, oh, better yet, TMP number, thank you. TMP number 13-051-001-005, with waivers of 191.36 Delta, 191.37 Bravo. Based on the Remington Vernix engineer letter, June 13th, 2025, and I guess the Jones Engineering letter of June 17th, 2025.
Second.
All right. Jesse, pull the board.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
All right. Mr. O'Brien, I say yes. Mr. Everett?
Yes.
Ms. Leszczuk?
Yes.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're on to item number 4, minutes from last meeting. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion to
All right.
adjourn.